Young ladies can take it.
Judge, for you, you got some transfers?
Yes, those are the transfers that I'm talking about to transfer into the, and those are taken into account, and we've already assumed that those transfers will be approved, so the number I'm talking about is what's left over after those transfers. Please approve the transfers.
Okay.
Do you assume things in court too?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Do you assume things in court?
We need a motion to go ahead and approve the transfers.
I so moved.
Okay, we got first and second. Any further discussion on that? Not all approved, raise your right hand. All of them the same? Left? Okay, thank you.
Had a long night, sorry I forgot about the transfers. Have a good day.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you have everybody turn on there?
Need to turn your mics on, I guess. Sheriff Gatton? Transfers and additional appropriations.
What's the additional appropriation?
Morning.
Morning.
He'll be talking about it.
First, I
don't
have
think
just
I'm
the two
advertising.
transfers that can be approved today, hopefully. The first one has 15 for medical to 15 into utilities and 20 for medical into jail maintenance. Utilities have been high. I think we hit a high last month. We hit over $11,000 recently. For water and electricity. Jail maintenance, we've had 2 freon leaks. I think you guys have been informed from Mark about them downstairs, and those have been quite costly. And the second one is to take 15,000 out of gas budget, put it into the garage budget for maintenance.
Anything special happen in the garage or just maintenance?
Normal maintenance on the original.
Go ahead first, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
And that was both transfers.
Yeah, there's a request for reduction in appropriation of funds that I can only talk to you about, hopefully it's approved next month due to advertising. So that one, so you guys are aware of it, I'll be back next month. It's take 13,000 out of medical and put to the line item that hasn't been shown for a while. It's called the ammo account. It was in the sheriff's budget. We had a transfer of new firearms this year, and the price of ammo has skyrocketed. With the projected to go up 12 to 20% today alone. Whether that happens or not, I don't know yet, so.
What drives that up?
The election this year,
It'll drop back down now.
well, I hate to assume, but I'm hoping, yeah, it will come back down some, so. We're using
How-
a new distributor down in Rushville. We drive and pick it up. He's treated us very well on prices.
So you have some different ammunition than you've had in the past?
Yeah, we we transferred over from the 45 to a 9mm this year. Also, for the first time ever, the sheriff's department has their own rifles now. That was bought, that money was bought out of, or used from the firearms training account for people's firearms license. We were at the end of the time for 45s. About every 7 to 8 years, they recommend to get rid of pistols and get new ones. And the firearms instructors did a study, and with the new ammunition, we went to 9mm for the first time, at least in my career. We haven't carried 45. Positive for that is the ammo is cheaper per thousand.
Do you qualify out there, right south of SDI?
Yes.
Do you have to pay anything for that?
Back prior Sheriff Mark Hodges had donated and gave a lot of money to the building and out there. So since that has happened, we're in as like members. We draw weeks we want to shoot either with the state police and Bucket City. Nobody can go out there on their own. You have to be a certified firearms instructor. You have to shoot with a certified firearms instructor to go out there.
Who owns that, the state?
The state owns that property with that tower.
When you guys switch over, then the ammo and stuff that you have built up, what do you guys do with various items? that
We didn't have a lot left over, but we traded what we had left over, traded it in for.
I got you. I got you. Thank you.
You have anything else, Sheriff? Any other questions for Mark while he's here? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It was a late night last night. Apparently I gave up 2 hours early.
Apparently.
There was a lot of attention in the nation watching last night. They gave it up, I went to bed about 10:30.
Well, I guess they're beating nothing else. Oh, I guess we do. I didn't, sorry, Paul, I didn't see you say
I
that.
know, I'm hard to miss. Or easy to miss.
Okay, Paul.
Ready for me? Did you all receive the letter regarding the flooring? As I mentioned in the letter, the attachment, all that work was done by Mark Sturdivant as far as researching what flooring he would recommend for our facility. We don't have the money for that. He's recommending, if there is funds, that we would go with option, my glasses on, AF1. And this is mainly, I'm sure most of you have been through the building. We've ripped up in the first floor, all the carpeting and it's the concrete, and that cleaned up really nice and it's easy to maintain, but upstairs, that's not an option. And the second floor, where we have all the participants in today, I think we have 81, 70 some are males. It's a lot of traffic with boots and soil, and it's brown, basically. Out there, and Tom's been out there, it's just the hallway. And also in the rooms, because of the carpet, we've had some pest control issues, and we believe that will be a lot easier to control if we have some type of flooring in there other than carpet. So any help that you could give us on this? We've replaced all of our wooden bunks with metal bunks to help with pest control, but we purchased all new mattresses. That was very costly to do that. I think right now we're close to $12,000. Do you still have that, Tom, that I gave you on Monday? With bunks and mattresses and.
Right,
It was
a little over 12.
It was a learning experience for us with the pest control issue, but I think we're ahead of the game. Kathy Springer has done an exceptional job of getting in there and staying on top of it. If we have any indication that we need to be watching her, she's in there taking it. And so this is where we're at. I think, like I said in the letter, we've been very fortunate. It'll be 27 years in July that we've been in operation. We're still able to, generate enough money through grants and user fees to support almost a $1.6 million budget. And that's all personnel, their benefits, operating expense, there's maintenance, janitorial, that type of stuff. So I think we're fortunate. I don't foresee that we're ever gonna be able to come up with money for a roof and stuff, but I'm hoping that we'll always be able to come to you and not have to ask for anything for general operating, so.
Well, the cume cap, or cume cap handle that, or what fund? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to back up a little bit and reinforce what Paula said. She has given me a list of user fees. This is what some of the money that people pay in. They bought heating, cooling units, 3 at $865 a piece. Parking lot was almost $4,700. Parking lot lighting was $885. The pest control, which we think we're getting control of now, is $1,082. And the metal bunks, mattresses you have, new refrigerator was 1,400. So those are things that she has taken on her own on the user fees to buy and not come here. But we started out with a 5,300 or 5,500, but then after talking, we got a recommendation or a motion from Commissioner Amber to do the whole thing while we're doing. So we would support the $30,167 for this project. And that is the only thing, and you had the letter there that the state wrote up that they could find outside of the, was it nasal spray or something?
Yeah, and I watched, it just expired
Eye
October
wash,
30
yeah.
something.
So, outside of that, they gave us a real good report. Those two, and Vicki and George and I went through with them, and they were very pleased. There is, well, I'll let you do this one, but before you go, I would like to talk about the other project too, that might become, well, that will probably be coming up.
Paul, is there a liability difference between carpet and, say, vinyl flooring, or, I mean, as far as, you know,
Slipping and,
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't, I think what Mark's recommending is what's in the hospital. So I think he feels that's the best safety and as well as long-term durable, but that's what he's comparing to what they just put in the new hospitals. I don't know a lot about them.
Mark's been very helpful.
Okay, yes, great.
Been wonderful.
Did you look up a balance in the cum cap, or, I mean, is that what you looked at?
Yeah, it's.
I think
it's
George
a-
said it was around 250,000.
No other projects that you know of between here and the end of the year, is there?
Not, I know.
I would make a motion that we approve the, what the commissioners recommended, 30, whatever it is, more or less.
I'll second that.
first and second. Any further discussion?
They give you any idea when they can do it?
We're just waiting for your blessing, and then I was gonna follow up with Mark, and I think he'll schedule it at that point then. But you need it done before the end of the year, since it's out of this,
Well, it really needs to be paid for out of this year's.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure it's invoiced and the work's completed before, okay.
Unless it's not possible.
Okay, if it's not, I'll report back.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very good, thank you.
Any other questions for Paul? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
Thank you very much.
Paul, I want to thank you too for all you do. I know you've been very responsible person, so thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And I appreciate all your support throughout the years.
One of the other projects, this is a future thing, but we are, sorry to say in a way, but another way, pleased, I guess, that we can offer this service, but we have one room that we might have to ask some help on, because we have ladies at the jail waiting on, they have jobs, but we don't have room for them in our community corrections. It seems like we're getting, this would make a ladies count of 22 or 23 in there now. And I think we started out with 4 or
Yeah, it
5.
just keeps going down.
But there might be a room that we might have to do a little shifting of a door that's connected, right?
Correct.
You know more about that than I do, but I'm just giving a little heads up
Okay.
that we might have to do that so we can take care of the ladies in the jail who, mainly why that's up, the only thing I can figure out is when one gets arrested for meth in a house, generally both of them go husband and wife, or man and girlfriend, whatever, but, excuse me, might be. But this is a growing problem, and we can connect this room right onto the existing one, right?
Yes, that's correct. And we have a waiting list, and one of our board members just called me and said, you know, this is now weekly, I'm seeing that you still have a waiting list for females, we need to be looking towards a solution. If they're found eligible and we're not moving them out there, but we have other open beds that are for, you know, males, but they're not being filled, we need to see if there's another option. So if we have individuals who are eligible, it's not based on gender, we move them out there if we can.
It's a different world than most of us grew up in.
It is.
It's going to fester and get worse.
It's going to be a continuing situation with the female population on it. Used to have one incarcerated in a jail, now you have what,
I'll be very
25 or 30?
surprised in the future if we don't have to have a special place.
So, and talking with Huntington County commissioners, they're getting ready to build strictly a women's dormitory cell block across from their jail facility right now.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to do that.
Now, Mr. LaRue, you're not suggesting that this county have a special place for women, do you? Because I've heard several comments that
Well, it makes it easier to control.
I don't want to be racist.
It makes it easier to control some situations.
You know.
I'm not sexist, I'm just saying, people are people.
Yeah, right, okay. That's just a heads up. Okay, thanks, Gals.
I just wonder if the commissioners have or are going to talk with commissioners in other counties that have got jail problems like we do, for instance, Huntington, maybe Wabash, and talk about the possibility of a regional jail. And if we did that, if that happened, maybe use one of the abandoned jails for a women's jail. That's just a thought.
Regional jail would be, Marion County did away with theirs. They were just going outside because of transportation back and forth. Your transportation costs are gonna just explode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot involved in it. I just thought it was something that would be good to be looked into.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't know.
Yep.
You already got one building, and they haven't pursued an addition on to that one, but that's in the background, and I'm not sure, because the probation department would like to move out there also with cases or courts or information that Julie does in her classes. But that's, I just mentioned these two things because it's on your plate and has to be dealt with in time, the next 4 or 5, 10 years, whatever it might be.
Okay.
I have one final thing, I just want to let you know, by February, we're going to have a report. It's been some time since we've showed you like the 3-year financial impact of community corrections and how it's benefited. I think that's because of all of you and your support, so we will get those numbers to you, but we'll include some projection as far as the medical cost savings by serving them under community corrections, and we'll just do a 3-year snapshot of that. So my goal is to have that to you by February.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you have to be back for a
No, do you
few?
need me to stay?
Would you both stay for just to comment on my report to them? Thank you. Okay.
Is Julie here just for support on you?
Well, I was a backup for you.
I'm expecting my first grandchild, so if I get the call.
Wow.
Hey.
That'll be one of your neatest times.
It
Because
is.
that's the same
Sorry.
series, so
It
you
is.
How close?
they're good.
Okay, well then, Pam? Thank you. Salary ordinance and PT wages and scale?
Yes, several meetings ago, you were presented with the Department of Labor's final wage discussion, where they increased the salary threshold for exempt individuals, and that was approved. Jana has a salary ordinance today for you to sign. There's actually 7 of them. The main reason I'm here is we missed one, and that was Craig Wagner. To find out for payroll purposes, he had always been salary. His job description actually said non-exempt still, so that's what I went off of. So there is an addition to that. So there's 7 individuals, not 6. It did raise the county general bond line. Originally it was $3,995. Now it's a $4,066 increase, which is $117. Craig's information is in that in the ordinance. And with that being found, I think working with George and the commissioners, we're going to look at reviewing job descriptions this year again. To make sure we're all on the same page.
Shows here, it's only $71.
That's great.
Craig was just an increase of 71.
It's overall, good.
That'll put us in total compliance with the federal law
It
on
will.
overtime,
The
correct?
threshold was raised to the $47,476 per
Yeah.
salary.
On the, but we're not required to increase all these positions if we choose not to increase the positions to the threshold. They just earn overtime at that point.
Well, they can, but the Department of Labor and Employment, which they are, then they need to comply with the Department of Labor section status. So those individuals are doing those duties. We went through this on Council on Aging as well. We're making some changes to the Council on Aging. And this takes effect. So you're here today to sign the ordinance also.
Do we need to do each one individually, or can we do them, listen to each one and do it as a lump?
You can do it all in one motion, but I would say for each department, emergency management, the health department, both from the health department, one from community corrections, one from planning and building, one for the commissioners. I'm sorry, actually two for planning. Is it two for planning and building?
No, just one. The other is engineering.
That's right, engineering.
Yeah.
That's right.
Questions did you get?
I think it'd be better off just doing one at a time.
I don't know, I don't see a particular need to, because all we're doing is matching it up to what has to be for the,
$73. Pam, what drives up the EMA director's salary so much?
Because of her original base wage, if I don't know if you have that. Base wage in front of you.
Well-
2016.
2016, $40,059.
Correct, yeah. What drives her up so much is the fact that threshold is 47,476. And obviously she wasn't near that. And her position, she's doing the duties according to the duties test that the DOL provides us. She's doing those duties as a director. And if we were to pay her overtime, there's been several occasions where she's worked over 40 hours a week
yeah.
here, and we would be paying quite a bit, just so you know. For instance, we had the train incident, we had the wreck out here,
All at the same time?
all at the same time, so, yeah.
Does she get that many hours in now that she has part-time help?
I can't answer that. So, yeah.
Is she still working a full-time, another full-time position?
Yeah, she's doing them both still, and still maintaining at least 40 hours or more. Depending on situations that arise.
Now, when she works full-time for us, is she actually working from home or here, or what,
She's actually here.
in our facilities?
So, yeah, there's been several times that I've been over to jail or any place in the evenings, and she's actually working. I did some training over there with some shootings with some of the Oklahoma City police officers, and she was there almost every night.
I've heard a lot of good reports about her.
Yeah, she's done great, and she's brought a lot of expertise to the county as far as training. I know she's helped Paula as far as training and building. She's been excellent. A good resource for the safety community too. So-
She's very well liked and respected.
Yeah, very much so.
That amount of money, if we don't put that raise in there, we'll probably be paying at least that much in overtime, plus the headache of keeping track of it.
And keep in mind, her half of that is paid by the EMA grant. That's why you see that EMA grant match
Correct.
down there. So we're not paying that full substantial raise as far as county general.
So out of the total, the new 47, half of it's going to be reimbursed?
Correct. 37, I think you got down the last EMA grant match down there at the bottom. You should have on your paper.
The part-time
Okay.
person, does that come under grant, matching grants on the part-time salary too, or
I
not?
believe the part-time individual does have a matching grant as well. That's
They used
not
to.
on here, but-
They
It does.
used to.
Yeah.
softens the blow a little bit.
Oh, you want to do these all one time, or
I'm comfortable with that.
you want to do it one at a time?
Or you string it out, you can do one all at once, I think. I mean, it's, you can see what it is. What we're doing is matching what the government requires us to do, basically.
So I make a motion to just approve them all at once.
And I'll second that.
First and second, any further discussion on it?
Well, I'm going to reluctantly vote yes, because I don't like the federal government telling us how to run our business, but
Can't help it. That's the thing.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand.
put mine up halfway.
All opposed, the same.
6 and a half votes.
I do agree with you, Jim, you know, I understand where you're at.
Yeah, I just don't like that.
No, we're all,
I believe that local ought to be taking care of their own thing, their own business.
I concur.
Maybe now they will.
Tell that to your new senator.
Thank you.
You're gonna have writer's chance.
Where we at?
Did you
Just
want to
to
bring
feel
up the
comfortable.
part-time wage
Yeah,
scale?
you want me to go ahead while you're signing everything? I can talk anyway. For part-time, looking at really increasing the pay range.
I'm losing the feeling at the end of my fingers. I have a hell of a time with it.
That was voted on back in 2013 to raise that threshold from $10 an hour to $17 an hour. Again, this is the pay range we're looking at for part-time. Back in 2013, it was raised to $17 an hour. Since then, it hasn't been raised. So we're looking to raise it a couple more dollars like we did in 2013 to $19 an hour. So the pay range would go from $10 an hour to $19 an hour for part-time. Right now, I can tell you, I did the numbers, out of 75 people part-time, we have 22 that are at that max wage of $17 an hour. So 29% of our part-time people cannot exceed or go over anymore or get raises.
Now Pam, those numbers, I think at one time, maybe we still do, but we had certain jobs paid more part-time. That wasn't just a broad, I don't think we ever adopted that as a broad range, but I think we had certain, somebody comes in a little more specialized, they was paid more per hour than somebody else. I mean, I don't know what distinguished that, but occasionally we had somebody hired part-time that they just warranted a different pay than what the normal was. Do we still have that, or is that just?
I'm certain we do. As far as the directors, they control that, and based on that individual experience, they may not come back in and then they determine
I had that
$12.
carpal tunnel job done one time. And
I mean, they just don't automatically start everybody at $19.
No.
What are they feeling it?
That's why we only have
All the time
26
button the
at the
shirt.
top. Most of those at the top rate are our security guards over here and our jailers, only because I think they wanted them to be right at the same threshold because they're doing the same work. I did present this to the commissioners, it did give a favorable pass. Again, we're just changing it from the top of $17 an hour, which was done back in 2013, to $19 an hour, which every 4 or 5 years it really should be revisited, especially with the DOL and this new final exemption ruling coming out and that threshold changing for a lot of individuals.
I go in fact, it made it later at the end of the year or beginning of the
First
year.
review. And again, that's something the department has control. Jim's right, that doesn't mean that everybody's automatically at that top.
And I think it's important that if the threshold doesn't get raised, those department heads can come in to council and commissioners and say, we want to increase this person to 18 an hour. If by keeping the cap at 17, there's a little bit of control on who all goes to 19.
Well, what's What would the council like to do?
Well, I'm not sure it's a good idea that if they come in individually, we raise them individually above the threshold, that may not even be legal.
As far as the threshold of DOL, with the Department of Labor said.
Yeah, if the threshold's still at 17, and somebody comes in and wants $18 for an individual, are we even, legally, can we even do it?
Yeah.
Without
That's
raising
what
this
we
up?
Yes, we could,
But you
yeah,
have to do
based on their
a
duties.
change in the salary ordinance.
And as long as we've got that
Promotion.
salary ordinance and correct
If
position.
Well,
if the salary
if
ordinance
the new
outside
ordinance
that.
passes,
If it's
but if
outside
it
the
doesn't
parameters
pass,
of it, don't you have
we
to come
legally can't
before
do it.
council and change the salary
Depending
ordinance?
on if you guys were to vote above that threshold.
I can put
And if that
something
were
in
to
the
happen,
salary
don't
ordinance
think
that
that
says
others
$17.
would do
It says
And all of a
in the
sudden,
salary
once we
ordinance
get
what it
that
is.
increase.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
It would
You
list
would
the
open that up.
It just,
Yeah.
I think Jana has a good idea. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. On the salary ordinance, you can leave it as council has left it at the max of 17 unless otherwise approved by the county council. I mean, I can put something in there that gives you guys the chance to make it higher if you believe it needs to be, if it's brought to you. I mean, it could be in there that you guys have the option.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Because if we set the parameters of $10 to $17, do we have to go through a salary ordinance change to approve somebody over 17 if we don't have that clause in?
I would say yes, because it's still changing the salary. Well, yeah, it's still changing it, so yeah, I would say yes. Even though I would put that little statement in there. I'd say to be on the safe side, yeah, you probably should.
And you could still adopt the 10 to 19 today, but still keep what Jan said in mind. I do like that. Come before the council.
And then that department head can give us the reasoning
Yeah.
why he thinks this particular individual needs $19 an hour rather than what his qualifications are.
I guess,
Yeah, but I think we ought to have enough faith in our department heads,
Yeah,
or else it shouldn't be a department head.
and that's true as well.
well,
You pay your part-time help $19.
I guess personally, I'm just in favor of leaving it the way it is, and if somebody has somebody that really thinks need to be moved up, we will address it at that time. That's where I'm at.
Vicky, somebody's got something to say.
Yeah, Vicki?
I just wanted to mention, I believe that $17 wage being paid under funds. If you change this to 10 to whatever.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, it is federal minimum wage. It was originally, it said 10, way back on the old one. Okay.
Yeah.
2013 did change to
Minimum wage
Yes,
to
minimum
17.
wage to 17, correct.
15, so it's
So
minimum
it is
wage,
still minimum
15.
wage, yeah, you're right. I was
It's not that high.
Pam, what is minimum wage right now?
$7.25.
$7.25.
If we don't do it, and some department head would like to go to $19
And
an
that's
hour.
where I'm at, I've already had some individuals who,
If they want to raise it, they'd have to come back to us for each individual one.
that's,
So we're going to decide now, or we're going to decide then.
I feel $19 an hour is pretty high pay for part-time help.
That was what my thoughts are. That's why.
I even thought 17 was high at the time, but still that's for part-time. We're talking part-time, not full-time people. Part-time, you get them in there and you usually at the teaching part of their, so you're wanting to give them top dollar to bring them in here and still teach them and they don't know anything.
that's the range we're looking at this point. Your
Basic.
department head would have to make that call, like Tom said.
That's why I'm in favor, just leave it the way it is, Kim. I don't think just leave it the way it is.
Paul, you have anything, since you deal with so many employees out there?
Really, it's just retention, but I mean, for us, it's, if they leave us, it's because they want a full-time job, you know, and that's the thing. I don't think, for us, if we add another $1 an hour and they have another opportunity to go full-time, I'm still gonna lose them. Right now, I just wish we could extend the number of hours they could work, you know, because a lot of individuals, but that's obviously, so. And that may change too, so yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's more that they want full-time, is why we're seeing.
What's council like to do?
I make a motion, we just leave it as is.
I'll second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Okay, Pam. Commissioners report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
They voted for that reluctantly. Lower kids, oh, it
I voted
didn't
against
kick
it,
in down
and
the road.
it's the reason why, if you put a person part-time at the courthouse and arm him, and he's on security there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, commissioners report.
Okay, while Julie and Paul are here, yesterday we had quite a discussion on drug overdoses with clientele, with our people, and we decided that we would allow Narcan to be used by licensed personnel who go through Bill Bryce for training. We had, all these people weren't here, but Dr. Hatcher has signed on for this, community corrections, jail staff. It also would include firemen, volunteer firemen, if they're educated or trained in this area. It will be a nasal spray only, not an injection. And it passed with a 2-to-1 vote, but Mr. Amber had a bad situation when he was EMS. If you give them a shot and give them too much, when they come back into reality, they are violent, right? Violent, is that too?
If they come out of it too quickly, yes.
Yeah, violent, and it was raised this morning, as Tommy mentioned to me after yesterday. How will this work with community corrections where you have a lot of women? Can they control, well, I mean, our staff, I'm not talking about people in there. He had a concern about that. But anyway, we did approve it. We're going to check with our insurance company and wait a couple weeks before it goes into effect. City has had 4 cases where they've used it, and they feel each time it saved the person's life. This is a new arena we are entering. John and I had a discussion how things have progressed. Huntington County, I know, is really having some serious problems with heroin at this time. So it is something that's new, we feel should be used in our county, and that's where we passed it, like I say, with a 2-to-1 vote, so there was a good discussion. Ladies, you have anything to add to that?
I just want to add, what Tom asked about as far as, I had the same concern, because I don't want individuals being put in a situation to administer this if they're not comfortable. So our policy is going to include it, if you have to be trained to administer it. So we're not going to force individuals. Obviously, we don't have medical backgrounds. So if they're going in and they have any hesitation that they're not comfortable in that role, then they just won't go through the training. Therefore, if they're on staff, they're not, they're not qualified to administer it. So was that addressing?
Well, it's probably, it's more than likely it's gonna be a non-issue with the nasal stuff.
Right.
But if something happens and it's one of you two and somebody gets very violent, what are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna lose probably.
That was my,
Yeah, and that.
and
that is
it's
very
not a
true.
real big
Yeah.
concern, because, you know, what the days will, it probably will never happen, but that is a concern with, or some other female staff member out there, but if they happen to be alone, and in the evenings, you know, there's not very many people there.
Right.
You don't want somebody getting hurt
No, I
by
agree.
some lunatic that's coming out of a high. And that was just the little concern.
And we do always have 2 staff on
Yeah.
now, so, but.
And I
You're right.
realize, you know, the city cops are really close, but you're not there.
No.
That was just a question I had.
So, any questions for these ladies? Just for your information, because you get hit on the street. What's the county doing? And we've always tried to keep you informed on things. And Julie had an article in there where in Allen County, for instance, overdose increased something like 93% in the last 5 years. So it's only a road or a county line that separates, and you're going to have those people trying it, so. Okay, Gal, any question for them or anything? Okay, thanks for staying.
Thanks.
Couple things, December 5th, our next commissioners, it's not our next meeting, but on December 5th, we will be taking bids for county supplies at 10:30 in the morning, if any of you care to be here. Flooring, you've taken care of. The female wing, we've talked about. Nikki Trier was in yesterday and gave us a report on, the Troy Center people that they service. They have currently 35 students and seemingly growing. They get students from Whitco, Cherubusco, none from the Columbia City. The rest of them are people who hear about the program and pay tuition and want to come in.
Tom, I just have a comment. Is there a possibility that we could get these schools to kick in a little more than they do?
Well, it's a state tuition is what they get. And that goes directly to the school. If that student, they like to keep them enrolled for 20 days because that's the number they send to the state. And it's better to have an enrollment of 6,000 than 5,000 because you get another boost in your tax, your tuition per student. And if we could get the public schools, when that person is suspended or expulsion out of school, then it would help. But a lot of times, they don't give all that money. If you only keep a student for 20 days, why should you get to keep all the stipend from the state on tuition per student? So I don't know. We don't want to do anything to upset the schools. They're very supportive. The Whitley County schools have kind of started their own program, as I understand it, and I don't know how that's doing at this time, but I don't want to get competition amongst the schools, but Whitco and Cherubusco have been very supportive of it.
It's just a question.
Yeah, good question. They're currently at the Presbyterian Church, I think they said, didn't they? I think that's what it is. And they're to their limit there, the number they can house. So the only other thing Mr. Chairman, I would like to say that the information that we are trying to do at the jail is the fact when we book a person, we are trying to assess them about the possibility of their suicidal situation. You often wonder what, we say or do. The questions, I guess I didn't bring it, but there are about 3 or 4 questions that are asked along with a series of others. How accurately they answer these, I'm not sure. Have you thought about suicide? Have you tried suicide? Have you ever been admitted to a hospital with mental illness? And what is your suicide outlook at this time? Those 4 questions we ask. My question always is, how accurately is that answer? And we're doing this based because our insurance company, after a couple suicides we had, which you can remember, which involved lawsuits, which involves money, suggested we do more on the mental illness effect. My question is, are we educating our people enough to gauge mental illness in a person with 2 or 3 questions?
Who asked those questions, Tom?
The booking department over here, and that would be determine who's on duty at that time.
Is there any seminars that those people could attend with, with professional people that deal with that would help, make them better at doing that? I mean, I don't know how they ask them or anything about it, but I assume that there's people that have a gift, I guess, for lack of a better word, to ask those questions, and I just wonder if there's seminars or any training that those booking people could attend that would maybe make them better at doing that.
Good idea.
My question is, what's next? If they take that question and somebody says, yeah, I've been thinking about suicide, then what?
Well, we have to probably provide a,
Well, then they got, that was the purpose of the rubber room,
yeah,
to keep them from hurting themselves. But then we had one case where a guy hung himself with a string off his hood.
right.
So,
Yeah.
if nothing else, maybe we should put the people in a rubber room and keep the room a lot warmer and put them in that with less opportunity of something to use.
If they are thinking about suicide, I think I've relayed this mission. I went with the Whitley County coroner on several calls, just because I lived next to him, Dr. Sneary. And there was a lady one time hung herself from a doorknob. Now, just with a string. Now, when you have, I'm not saying it, but we did have one individual that used the end of the bunk bed to get the job done. So I don't know, but it's a concern I think it's going to continue to come up with not only the commissioners, but you people. And any suggestions that you might have, because, yeah, we can try to provide all the information we can, and due to the fact our insurance company, and I don't know if George has mentioned this before, but they are kind of on, we just talked yesterday, we hope we get our insurance company to stay with us, because we have had a lot of claims.
I was just thinking about my own personal thoughts. Our sheriff very well could just have a meeting with the booking people and say, absolutely do not take any chances. Just enforce it. Just enforce the thought in their mind.
Well, now with our new scanning camera and everything, we have everything covered. But it's something that you've got to stay on your toes and be watching.
They have. Used to be the dispatchers watched the cameras. Now we have confinement people who watch the cameras only.
Mhm.
And I know this one individual hung himself, and they should have been able to see that on the camera.
So,
You
I
still
don't
need to
know.
have something to go continuing on. If somebody said, yeah, I'm thinking about suicide, we need to have something, what do we do then?
Well, I think then we would get a hold of our nurse, qualified licensed nurse, and have a recommendation from her, and it could be that he needs to go to some other facility stronger
I
than
know
what
we used to
our
call the
jail.
Bowling center, but they never had a bed available. Never.
I know, we don't pay for that. We pay for a bed in Marion or Muncie for the 16 or 18 below age bracket, and then we have the bed in the youth center, which runs us $7,000 or $8,000 a year just to hold the bed. We might use it, we might not, but you never know. So someone like that, we would try to find the proper facility to transport them to. So,
In your conversations with the insurance carrier on it and their suggestions on it, do they have the capabilities of putting a training seminar on to meet their qualifications for the jail staff personnel?
John, I can't honestly answer that because I have not, and I'm just going on what George said, but they give a lot of information to us on safety at the highway, for example. It has videotapes, has material and things.
Yeah, they do.
But I'll ask George to check that out, but that's,
Tom, I know you have interaction with other county commissioners. There might be such a thing that you could get a group of 3 or 4 counties, or maybe more, and put a seminar on, and bring someone in, that deals with them sort of things, and it'd just be a day-long seminar or something, could be in any one of the facilities or within the participating counties, and have somebody come in as an expert on that, and it just, you've covered another base, I guess,
Yeah.
whether it helps or
that's
whether
a
it
good
doesn't.
idea. That's why I mentioned it, you guys.
I do know-
Tandem minds are better than.
I do know in the past that I have been with, as part of the group, I don't remember who all was on, Commissioner and myself, but the insurance guy walked through the jail in different places, and he offered us videos of different things to help us. And I
Okay.
imagine they probably do have something. But I don't know
Okay,
that.
we'll check that out, about helpful.
Well, I think the insurance company would like-
Travelers has been very helpful.
I think the insurance company would like the fact that you made an attempt to train your people more professionally, and I think other counties would participate in that too, I would think.
Well, they have the same problems, I would think. And you think, but as I was researching things here, there have been school-age people, 5 in this area, suicides this year. We've had one here. Last week, there was one in East Snow, a high school student, and his dad, if you would have seen him on TV, was really down. He says, why didn't someone tell me? What should I have looked for? I didn't know there was a difference in his behavior, blah, blah, And he just was almost begging for help. Now, this hits home.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right here, because you never know what they're thinking and what harm they might do to themselves. And just because we sit here and are well-respected to get elected every year, doesn't mean that we are excluded from this whatsoever. And I think not only for us, but for our whole county and joint county, you're right on, Jim. Anything we might do to help these people, I think is partly our responsibility. And it's really our responsibility in the jail when we book someone in. When they get in, you talk to the sheriff or Sean, they don't know what these people are on unless they volunteer the information. There are questions on this application or the booking form that they go down. But that's just a random sampling of,
Relying on
if you're
their
going to get the
truthfulness.
truth. Well, that's what I'm saying, truthfulness. So, the only other couple things, I'm taking too long here for Ms. Sharon. One of the things, as I think of only 53 days left, is one thing on your plate is going to have to be looked at is your jail. We continue to get major expenses on that. The other thing is the bank loan. Thank goodness now I can say that my name is off that, Mr. Trump's is on it, so I won't be held for a statement or letter from the bank. And just in closing, I would just reiterate what
Well, George, before you move on, what's the balance on that? Have we paid that
what we
down?
pay on that, 50 or I think it was 50,000. So it'd be 550,000. And we were going to help, you know, we're going to continue to use the seated some, as in the plan, hoping that maybe but I don't know how you would shift around. The Lloyd tax is only supposed to be used for the world of safety, you know? And sure, it can be put in the general for that, maybe I'd open up some other funds, but finances, as I see this, are still gonna be a big problem, even though we're a small county. You continue to go. I say anything with Pam, but I can see, you know, it seems like the past 3 months, I'm not being critical, but I'm just saying for us to get up in the salaries, how much money has been spent just to try to get these people up to par. And I was, the $19, that passed with a 2-to-1 vote. I didn't vote for it because I feel if you put it up there, that department head's gonna go right to that $19 to keep their people. I see that in our evaluation program. If you're a department head, you don't want your staff upset with you, so what do? Put them clear up here where they're gonna get their pay maximum. So outside of that, the only thing I can say, I've enjoyed 16 years working with you people. I'll never forget the first meeting I come into here when Commissioner Albright says you handle this. And I think I got 2 people to thank for this, Mr. LaRue and Mr. Boehner. Everything I brought up, I make a motion, we deny it. And there was a second and a vote. You guys remember this? I sat back here, I said, God, Albright told me this was going to be easy. Everything I brought up that day, I make a motion to deny it. I'll never forget it. So you 2 guys are in my way.
We're just kind of getting you trained right.
Okay. But I've enjoyed it. We agreed to disagree, which is fine at times, but most of the time I think we do it on the behalf of the people, 33,000 plus that live in Whitley County. And I appreciate it, and I'll always remember these great times we've had. A few not so great, right? Yeah. But thank you for everything. And there you go. I'm done.
Thank you.
Likewise,
Thank you.
thank
Yeah.
Well, you're sure gonna be missed, Commissioner, so
Thank you.
you have anything, Jenna?
Yeah, a couple things. First, I have the additional appropriation, the 2 for probation. You approved those at the last meeting. This is just the paperwork for them, so if you want to approve the paperwork for the additional, that would be wonderful.
You need to approve it. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, the same.
Did you get a full vote?
Okay, next one, I have an additional appropriation for Cadget. They are the institutional care, which was brought to you by Amy as well at the last meeting. You approved it. One is postage, and I can't think of what the other one is. But because of the election year and everything, the clerk's office has had a lot more postage this year, so that's went up quite a bit. So yeah, there's 3 different places in Cadget. Oh, legal services. Because of,
For the amount requested is 60,000. Additional appropriation.
For what's it to pay for?
it's for postage.
60,000.
It's split between 3 places. I'm saving paper and advertising. But yeah, it's split between legal services, postage, and the $30,000 for institutional care that Amy asked for at your last meeting that you approved. This is just the paperwork for her portion of it.
We already approved it,
Right.
so we just need to sign it.
Well,
Well,
but
we
there's
need to
2
prove-
other on there, so.
Well, we need to approve the
60,
paper.
right.
The 60,000 that's on the paper. Have
So
a
moved.
motion to approve.
So move.
Got first,
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, say.
Okay, this last one, this is what you and I talked about Cume Cap. We had, we got our bill for liability insurance and it was a lot more than what we had budgeted for. So we had to make some adjustments. I had talked with Kim over this and he said, do what you need to do. So we need that additional appropriation for Cume Cap for the $270,000.
That was for $270,000.
That's for liability for all the county's liability, for everything.
Yeah, it was over 300,000 actually.
But that includes the jail and everything.
Everything.
Highway department.
Highway.
All buildings and.
Buildings and everything.
Yep. So.
I think we have a choice. I'll move that we approve it.
Okay.
Just a question on that, Tom. I'm sure the insurance committee or somebody's keeps on top of this and, so that we're not just constantly raising, we're getting some other looks and looking at other companies. I mean, you do that, don't you, occasionally?
I believe it is done. Glenn, a little while ago, mentioned serving on insurance when we would sit down and we go in the building to see if there's any additions or deletions and things. But that committee, I don't know, I guess it's gone by the wayside now and it's mainly done, I think George looks at it. So, Jana, you in on that or anything like that?
Who's the carrier for that, Jana?
It's,
Star?
yeah.
John Beaver's the one that generally comes up and we
Well, if
had
it's a liability, you can't hardly, you're lucky to even find somebody to cover you.
Is that right?
But Pam does have a breakdown of everything if you would like to see that. So,
We need a motion.
So moved.
We have a second?
Don't have much choice, do we?
$270,000.
$250,000.
taken out of
Jeez.
where?
Cume Cap.
I thought we only had 250.
Yeah, I know.
well, that's, okay, because there had to be claim adjustments done. That's already been taken out of that. There is still 200,
Okay.
yeah, it's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
that's,
didn't-
nope, this is
Yeah.
fine.
Become commission.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is fine.
53 days,
Yeah.
and about to jail.
Hey, this is off the subject, Tom, but last meeting, we told Brandon to go to North Carolina or someplace and look at a spreader. Yeah, and I think he went. Do you know where he buy that thing or not?
No, they did not buy it. Wherever they went, I don't know. He and Kevin went someplace. He gave us a report yesterday that, and when they got there, it wasn't near what they expected. The
Oh.
fan belt was off and laying underneath the implement. And it just wasn't very well kept.
Okay, I
So
just
they did
wondered that.
not buy it at this time.
Well,
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes,
Yeah.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
Vote for that too. How much you spend.
didn't like to.
I don't either. I don't like it.
And now we're on
Jana,
the money
is that
like the
it
Cume
for-
Cap, right?
Or you have more? The only other thing that I wanted to, I put this in your packets for our certified distributions for Cadget and Public Safety and CEDAT. So you should have that. If you want to look over it, let me know if you have any questions, okay?
I wanted to take a minute, I won't be at the December meeting, so I wanted to let everybody know that I really enjoyed working with them for the last 6 years. It's something that I'll always remember, and I appreciate everything that you guys have taught me, and
good or bad?
good and bad.
Well, I can say, Paula, that as far as I'm concerned, you brought a lot of light to this council as far as wages and personnel and
You've always
different
been-
subject, and so I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I do too.
Thank you very much.
110%, I appreciate that.
And at this time, I'd like to congratulate our new county commissioner to be first of the year. Mr. Western, I hope you don't forget what you've learned on the council when you move to the commissioners, because we can make it hard.
That was your problem, Tom. You didn't have this expert
That's right.
education that was available here on the
So you jumped right into it.
You'll never get out of it.
Okay, I got a question for you guys while you're here, and I asked those two last night. Sometime back, a year or so ago, we approved money for the clerk to buy some kind of, well, I don't remember what it was, iPads, computers, something for the election. Does anybody remember what it was? And I thought it was supposed to be used at the polling places, but they didn't. They had those big old paper books again. Do you remember what we approved?
I don't, I remember approving
I-
something,
I-
but I don't
I thought
remember what it was.
Just,
Are you talking about for next year's budget?
No, I thought
Yeah,
it
it
was.
was-
It's for next year's budget.
Next year's.
During
Okay.
budget times, you brought.
Was
Yeah.
that very?
Yeah.
Yes.
Continue
So
to
that's
2000.
why.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting,
I saw the.
Second.
the first and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
No, you looked at it.
Is there any other, anything anybody else has got? If not, Jim?
When's the Christmas lunch, Jana?
I am not sure just yet. You want me to go ask Pam really quick? Or? Okay.
I just
I have,
didn't know it would be before we met or not.
I have one more motion, Tim.
Okay, Jim.
I moved to the adjourn.
Okay, we stand adjourned.
Paula?